And I'm watching guys like Joe Flacco, Jake Browning in Cincinnati, and it's not just how those guys are making plays, Bob. It's how their offenses make plays easy for them. And these guys have easy pitch and catch plays for big plays, for points and touchdowns. And that's what frustrates me as a Steelers fan watching these games.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the system produces better results from players. If you don't have that, then you're kind of lumped into where you are. And certainly Jake Browning has taken full advantage. I thought the game at Jacksonville that they won showed a real difference in play calling scheme, attacking the middle of the field, after we saw him for the first time against the Steelers. So that was impressive. And you can say what you want about Brock Purdy, but the system certainly helps him. But he's really good at what he does. He knows how to execute it. And it's true of a lot of teams out there. All right, let me ask you about the Watt situation. We just saw some video, which you didn't see, but it was when T.J. Watt got hit in the head by Ezekiel Elliott, and he returned to the game wearing a tinted visor. Mike Tomlin did not seem to notice that, but it makes you wonder about concussions, and you never know when symptoms arise, Andrew. I mean, they can happen 2 days after you got hit. Sometimes it takes longer, sometimes they're immediate.
Yeah, look, I'm not a doctor. I hate being critical of medical professionals and people because I don't have that background. I mean, I'm standing here for the most part because people are, I guess, interested in what I have to say about sports. Sometimes these things cross over, though, and you have to at least have some working knowledge of sports medicine and sports health when talking about these things. I thought, and this was just maybe maybe I'm ignorant to this, but I was under the impression that if you suffered a concussion, my own history with concussions, I'm speaking for myself now, there was light sensitivity that made it worse for me when I went through that. I'm talking about when I was in high school. So when I hear that a guy had to go to a tinted visor, it makes me think, was he worried about the lights in the stadium and the brightness and what that would do to him? So that makes the cynic in me say, did something happen from that hit from Ezekiel Elliott that caused T.J. Watt mid-game, midstream to say, I need a helmet adjustment in order for myself to continue, which I thought, Bob, would trigger for the doctors on site to say, well, maybe we need to re-examine if he's suffering some kind of brain injury. But again, I have to caution everybody in saying I'm not a doctor when I say all that. I'm talking more from anecdotal experiences and things that I've heard from the way that concussions have been covered in sports the last few years.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right in saying it. You never know when symptoms arise. Watt showed up the next day and had symptoms, and that's why he went into the protocol, and hopefully those guys will be ready to go. If not, you're going to have to put Marcus Golden and Nick Herbig out there, a bunch of inside linebackers who are coming and going. And boy, I tell you what, if you're Gardner Minshew and company, you may want to attack the middle of the field the way these last two teams have done with their tight ends specifically. We'll talk more about that. We'll talk about the Penguins. Kyle Dubas spoke today, and more on the Shohei Ohtani contract. It's all coming up. We want your calls and opinions at 412-575-2600. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call on KDKA+.